own horn or anything, but I'm kinda experienced with art. Sketching, drawing, rendering, and so on. But am I creative or just an experienced copy machine? Lots of us need references to draw, copying the piece as it is. But sometimes we draw without a reference and then, what is this monstrosity? How can we be creative then? Are we just stuck this way forever, copying things as they are with no proper way to ever express ourselves? But if I tell you, copying is the way to be creative. We learn through imitation, right? But we all somehow ended up different. That's because we didn't imitate only one source. You meet lots of different people, have different experiences throughout your life. Obviously, you're gonna end up unique. Mashing up multiple already successful ideas into one to make something unique to you that was not made before. Instead of just copying one thing and being called out for copying it. Now you might think, Muffin, how is this original? Isn't creativity when you just make things up? To that, my dear, I'll say true. But you can't just make something up out of thin air. You need multiple sources and, of course, the ability to create itself. I mean, it's in the name, and I'll explain how to do that later. Everything is always built on something else. If you try to build something from scratch with no inspiration whatsoever, you're gonna end up with a blank canvas that's insulting your entire existence. So yes, have multiple sources, mix and match from every single place. Books for good character writing, games for good character design. You could even take something completely unrelated from media, like I can take wizards and school and make Harry Potter. So basically, just search through lots of things, do lots of research, mix and match, and write down, this is important, okay? Write down your ideas, write down things you like that you think would look good together so that you don't forget them, so that it doesn't just be you consuming things. And that brings us to our other points. You may already be consuming a lot of content, but still no thoughts or ideas. Why? Because you're consuming. You're not analyzing, you're consuming. And there's a huge difference between the two. Here's what's wrong with consuming. You're scrolling on your phone and you're taking so many ideas, right? This is gonna be successful, right? Because you're gonna take so many ideas from everywhere and you're gonna mash them together. But here's the thing. After the second or third scroll, you've already forgotten everything because you're stuck in a loop. This is why this doesn't work. An analysis does. But I cannot exactly give you instructions on how to analyze things because everybody has different ways of analysis. Another important thing to mention is that skill is as important as creativity. An idea isn't enough. Performing it is more important because let's say you have a room, an empty room with a small window. Now imagine that window is your skill. There is nothing in the room, so it doesn't matter. But let's say you learned how to be creative and you did the analysis and you got so many ideas, and now this room is full of all these ideas, full of so many big ideas. Problem is, your window is way too small to fit any of those ideas outside to perform them. Let's say we work on this skill and with this hammer we hit the window and we make it bigger. Now we have a bigger window and we have big ideas. Now we can push those ideas out and actually perform them. Or you can just leave the ideas to rot in the little room alone forever in impending doom. Now we have another issue. Now we have the room with big ideas and a big enough window to push them out. Which idea is more worth it? You don't want to waste so much effort on an idea that just isn't good enough. That's when you move on to the third most important thing. Sketching. And this doesn't just apply to art, this applies to everything in life. Even robbing a bank takes creativity in a way. How so? Like for example, to avoid getting caught in a way nobody's ever heard of. But to execute the robbery correct, you need a plan. The same can apply to drawing. Plan out everything through a thumbnail sketch so that you don't have to regret it later halfway through. So a little recall. First, to get creative ideas, you need to mix media around you, write things down, and make analysis instead of consuming. Point 2, you need the skill so that your window is big enough to get out those ideas. And 3, you need a plan so that you pick the perfect idea instead of wasting your time on ideas that will never really make it. And that's okay if they don't. You always have time to make more. Nobody's running after you. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go work on my very perfect idea that has nothing to do with robbing a bank.